Hi friends, and welcome to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Krystal and I am so excited that you are here. Today we are working on some stamping projects. So if you don't know, this is stamping week. Well, as put on by Allie Edwards. If you don't know who Allie Edwards is or you don't follow her, stop right now and go follow her because she is amazing. This week, she is encouraging us all to get our stamps out and get those stamps stamped down, yes, onto paper. Just to pull out our stash of stamps, whether that's the clear stamps or the ones on blocks, whatever it is, pull them out, get them used, and just maybe try out some different techniques this week and see if, you can learn something new. Okay, so today I am going to put you guys on fast forward. I'm going to get started on one of the prompts. The one I'm working with today is patterns or backgrounds repeat stamping. And I'm doing this a little bit out of order, so you'll probably see this video later after I've already done a couple of the other techniques. So you will likely have already seen the after of what I am going to create right now because I need those backgrounds in order to use them for some of the other stamping things I want to do. So my plan is to use some stamps from here to create some background patterns for cards. I just have plain white cardstock cut into 4x6 and 3x4. That's going to be that. And I am making a story about my daughter and her stories or the things that she has said in relation to the bathroom or bodily functions because we think that's funny in our family. So that's what this is about. It's just silly stories about potty related things. Anyway, if you are interested in reading that journaling, I will post this spread once it's done and you can read it then. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys on fast forward and I will talk you through the process of what I'm about to do. And then we'll come back at the end, wrap you up really quick, and then I will be back tomorrow. This, I believe, is the 4th day. So I will be back tomorrow with the last technique for this project. So let's get started. So the first thing we'll do is talk about supplies. So I'm using this plain white cardstock. This is my stamp chamois. It is by Lawn Fawn and is what I use to clean off my stamps. And then I've got a variety of sizes of these stamp blocks. The two I use the most are those small two, but I also have some bigger ones for the bigger stamps. Then I grabbed over a variety of different inks. So I have a couple of scrapbook.com hybrid color inks. The black is a premium dye ink. The gray is an archival gray. I eventually will pull over another pink as well as one of Allie's ink pads as well. So now I'm going to get started on the first one. And what I'm doing here is swatching it. I'm trying to figure out which gray I want to use, that super light gray from scrapbook.com or the slightly darker one from Archival. I ended up deciding to use the Archival because I liked that it showed up more. And then I turned my card on a diagonal and all I'm going to do is repeat stamp this sentiment which says I've got my eye on you over and over and over and over and over to fill up this entire card. Now this sentiment is really small, so it does take me a while to get the entire card stamped. And then I just brought that close to the camera so you could see that what I'm doing is slightly offsetting the sentiment each time I go down a line. So what I did is I stamped up in the corner and then I picked a side and determined where I wanted to put the I've. So the statement says, I've got my eye on you. And so for each line, I put the I've part of that sentiment to the right side of the stamp above it. And so that is how I'm getting it to look varied instead of like it's all in a line. So I stopped there for a second because I noticed that my stamping is starting to look a little bit bowed. And right here, I make a mistake and I put too much space in between the lines. And so I tried to just stamp an extra one in the white space. In the end, it's not that noticeable. and I decided to just live with it, but I should have been a little bit more careful about my placement of the stamp itself. So I'm just going to keep going and fill the rest of this card in. So one of the tricks that I have learned with stamping is that the size of your stamp block matters. So if you are using a really large stamp, you want your stamp block to be large as well. If you are using a really small stamp, you're going to have more control, and the impression is going to be better if the block is also small. I usually judge my stamp block size based on the size of my stamp. So like this sentiment goes almost the entire width of that stamp block, which makes it perfect. When I'm using things like alphabets or really small sentiments, I'll use that little circle that you see up at the top there. That is why it's one of my favorites, is because a lot of the stamps are smaller. So if it fits on there, I will use it on that block. So that's just one of the tips that I've learned. It helps to keep my pressure more even on my stamp when I am pressing it down. And so I like it that way. So now I'm moving on to my next background. So this one, I'm using a different sentiment. This one says pay attention, and I'm using a light pink ink on this card. So I really liked how that gray one came out, but I'm going to be stamping some bold black letters, and I just thought it might have been a little too dark for the letters on top. In retrospect, it probably would have been totally fine, but I'm glad I used pink instead because it brought a little bit more color to my spread. So when I'm stamping this, another tip I have for you is to make sure to stamp off of the card. You see there, I just kind of barely got it on the edges, and that's just to make it look like it covers the entire card. So what I do is I'll take a piece of spare cardstock or paper and put that down on my work surface and then literally stamp onto the surface. That's why they all get covered like that. That's to protect my surface, but also so that I can get full coverage on my backgrounds. So here I did that same I've got my eye on you in the diagonal in that pink color. Now what I'm doing is creating another like journal-ish card. I measured out 1.5 inches on the bottom of that card, and what I'm going to do is fill in just that little portion with my stamping, with my repeat stamping. Then I can erase my line, and now I've got a card where it's got the white space at the top and some stamping or some color at the bottom. So I'm going to do this one more time with the blue right there. I just wanted to get, have a teal option as well. And now I'm pulling over Allie's ink. So the difference in Allie's ink compared to the other ones I've been using is that it's quite a bit juicier, but it also has a different finish. It's almost chalky, I want to say, compared to the others. The others look almost like printer ink. This one does not look like printer ink. It looks like a chalky, almost like paint ink. It's really cool, but it's really juicy. So you see me stamping off a lot because it's filling in my stamp too much and then giving it like a smeared look. And that will complete my backgrounds. All right, you guys, so that does it for today. For today's technique, which is backgrounds and patterns. So I hope that this helped to give you some ideas on what you can do with your stamps. I know I only used a couple of different phrases, but I had in mind, my end project here. And then I also used a couple of different colors so that I have options that I can choose from at a later point in time. And yeah, so I hope that gave you guys some ideas. I hope you're inspired to pull those stamps out, get them down on paper. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Come back tomorrow, which will be the last of the 5 days for stamping, and then also stop by on Saturday. I might not have it in video form. I'll probably just post pictures on my Instagram account, but then you can see this whole project and how it comes together. Okay, so until next time, I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye now.